Heyo. We're going to start off a completely new topic. We're going to be talking about the sum of interior angles of triangles. Remember, as always, when we begin, it starts off fairly simple. As we proceed, it's going to get more complicated. So make sure that you are paying attention and doing the work in the beginning so that when it gets more complicated, like tomorrow or the next day, you are going to be prepared for this. So, a triangle is a shape. It's an imaginary shape because it can't exist in real life. It just describes the shape of something. And it has a sum of interior angles of 180 degrees. Now, we are already familiar with angles and angle measures, and we understand that 180 degrees altogether would make a straight line, and this is true of the interior angles of a triangle. And just so we're clear, interior means inside. So there are three angles on the inside of a triangle at each one of the vertices, and together they equal 180 degrees. This one right here in green is called an equilateral triangle. It means that all of the angles are the exact same measure. So if I tell you the first one is 60 degrees, that means that all of the rest of the angles included with this triangle are also 60 degrees each. And of course, if you were to find the sum of all three of those angles, 60 plus 60 plus 60, is going to equal 180. Now, here's a right triangle. In a right triangle, all the angles are not the same. Clearly, you know that one of the angles is 90 degrees because of your experience with right triangles. Now, if I tell you one of them is 90, another one is 40, if you could do a little bit of quick math, maybe some of you will be able to figure out that the third angle would then be 50. Now, how did I figure that out? I summed all of the angles. Now, you may be saying to yourself, but why are triangles equal to 180 degrees? Well, here's a square. The square actually breaks up into two triangles. The square, of course, is four right angles. That's 360. So that means that each of the triangles themselves, if you divide the 360 by 2, would be 180 and 180. Because two triangles are always going to make a rectangle, and in this case, because they're two right triangles, they're going to make a square. Moving right along. Let's see if we could figure out the missing measure in this blue triangle right here. Now, if I tell you the first angle measure is 40, and the second is 60, well, some of you automatically are going to be doing some mental math to figure out the third. When it becomes a little more difficult, maybe mental math won't work. But in this case, 40 plus 60 is 100, so 100 plus something equals 180. That number was 80, and that's how we got our answer there. In this next example, are we talking about algebra? Yeah, we're talking about algebra because we're talking about something being missing, and that's exactly what algebra always helps us with. If we're missing a piece or there's something we don't know. So if I tell you the first angle is 75 and the second one is 20, then it's up to you to say, well, what's the third one? In this case, we'll use an X to indicate the missing angle. 75 and 20 is 95, and then a little bit of algebra, eliminating the constant from both sides, minus 95 to both, and we wind up with 85 being the missing angle. Just that easy. Okay, this reminds me when Thanos took out half of the population. Yes, so we've decided that it is algebra. So here we have another triangle. This one has one angle measure that's 45 and another that's 25. You can start doing mental math, but it helps when it gets more difficult to look at it as algebra. 45 plus 25 plus something is 180. Combine like terms, you get 70. Eliminate the constant both sides, and the missing value must be 110. So let's pretty much sum it up. A triangle is a shape with three sides and three vertices. Those three vertices have an angle measure whose sum is always going to equal 180 degrees. The interior angles, meaning the inside angles. To find the measure of the missing angle, add up what you have and subtract that number from 180. You can see this as algebra, or you can see this as arithmetic. Right now it's up to you, but eventually algebra is going to become a lot more helpful. So At this point, hopefully all of you guys are on Google Classroom and you're seeing this here. If you're still seeing it on Pupil Path, make sure that you sign up for Google Classroom. Very important to do so, as we will be switching over to it completely.